Well, good morning, Cecil.
Good morning.
Did you have a good ring up at Christchurch?
Yes.
You did. What did you ring?
Grandson Caters.
Grandson Caters, eh? And how long have you been coming into Bristol to ring now?
Well, for over about 60 years, I think.
Is it? I think you told me that you came to Bristol to ring first in 1929, was it?
Yes.
And how did you come all the way from Pensford into Bristol?
Well, I had a motorbike then.
Yeah.
And I used to come in mornings and then go meet old Jack.
Burford?
Burford.
Yeah.
No, because he used to live at North.
Yeah.
And then we used to walk down to here, and then we used to ring, and used to go to the pub along the road there.
Yeah.
And of course, all the ringers used to meet there in that, and all Saints and that, the one at All Saints and that, he used to be there. And we used to have a ring some Sundays at All Saints.
Now, you used to come into Bristol to ring at St Stephen's.
Yes.
And in 1929, 1930, did the ringers ring at lots of different churches like they do today?
Well, yeah, we used to ring at All Saints in the Mayorley Fort,
Yeah.
and also at Christchurch. And then sometimes go up to with Clark, up at the parish church. It's Clifton, which was gone west in the bombing.
Yeah, that went in the bombing, that's
Yeah.
right. So you rang at all those churches on a Sunday morning?
And also
just like you did.
sometimes I had to go down and ring at Mayorley Fort down with old Fred Acre.
Did you? Oh, well, you remember old Fred? Well, I remember Fred, of course, from the 1960s.
Yeah.
But I don't remember Jack Burford at all. Now, did he...
He had a cancer in his throat.
Did he?
Yes,
Yeah.
and actually, I was on the bus and that, and his wife said to me, he's pretty bad. You better come round and see him.
Yeah.
And when I got round there, he died.
Had he really? And that was in the 1930s?
Yes.
Yes. How many other ringers do you remember? Do you remember Bill Cave?
Yes, I mean, Bill used to want me to go everywhere with him, and all the special ringing during the daytime. He used, when I used to work for Cowlings, and was in Bristol, Bill did say, come to Redcliffe, and then we used to go to Redcliffe at 6 o'clock in the morning and at night for special occasions.
Did you? So he used to take you round with him?
Yeah.
You were a young ringer at Cottage Ale,
Yeah.
were you? Right, and what about people like Percy Kane as well? Would you know him?
Well, actually, I've seen him about once or so, and then afterwards he packed it up because he died.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So you didn't know him very long,
No.
because he rung a lot with Bill Cave, didn't he? And what other big ringers were there in Bristol? Stephen Wood, was he a big ringer in Bristol at that time?
He used to come every other Sunday or so down at St Stephen's.
Yes.
And also that we used to get from St James's come over to two Pierces. And also there were other ringer from Redcliffe. I forgot his name.
Got his name now, but there were quite a lot of ringers.
Yeah.
Were there any women ringers at all in those days?
Only Mrs. Wilkins.
Yes.
And sometimes her son was a dentist in Woodland Road, and he used to come, and she every Sunday she used to come, but he used to come sometimes and have a ring with her.
Yeah. What was the ringing like in those days? Was it as good as it is now?
Well, I think so. That actually, Jack Burford, we used to ring double knowledge caters, and we were going for a pill, but we never got to it.
You didn't? Did they ring things like Cambridge Royal?
Yes. Yes.
St Stephen's?
Yes.
And did they ring Bristol Royal in those days?
Well, not very. They used to ring sometimes Clifton.
Yeah.
But very rare Bristol Royal.
Yeah.
But we rung a lot of Cambridge and that.
What was the striking like in those days? You reckon it's good?
Yes.
It was. Better than it is now?
Well, about the same.
About the same, you should think.
Yeah.
And were lots of peals rung in these churches around here?
Well, quite a lot.
We're sitting now outside St Peter Fort. Did you ever ring here?
I used to ring quite a lot because there wasn't a band here, and we did make special arrangements for the coming ring here.
Yeah.
And at one time when we was ringing there one night when we got locked in, and old Joe, he jumped over the railings in the police column.
Did they arrest him and throw him in the police station?
Well, you know, they argued for a long time, and Joe was saying, well, I wasn't going to stop in there for all this time until somebody let us out.
Oh, they thought you'd broken in, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. And did you ring on the old 10 at St Nicholas?
Yes, I rang, I think there's 2 peals there.
Did you? And was that a good peal of bells?
Yes, a lovely peal. The editor of the Ringing Word used to come here and to the dinner when the ancient, the society,
it's the Bristol
Society,
used
to have their dinner there.
Yes, that's right.
And of course I used to always go, and I know one time, the last time I think, the editor of the Ringing Word there, he and my wife walked to the dinner at the Grand Hotel.
Yes, from where?
From St Nicholas.
Oh, they did they?
Yeah.
Now, where St Nicholas bells are concerned, I believe that you were on duty as a fire warden the night that they went down.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you like to tell me the story of what happened that night?
Well, you know, it was all set on fire and that as well. And I went in there, and there was a peal board with one peal I rang in.
Was the church on fire at that time?
Yeah, made in the shape of a bell at the bottom of the tower.
Yeah.
And I could have got that one out, but
yeah.
I came outside, and then afterwards the old locks got burnt, the peal board.
What I heard was that at that time the fire was only at this end, the altar end, the east end of the church. Was that right?
Yes.
And that you went away, and then when you came back again, the whole tower was on fire.
Yeah.
And all the bells came down.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
What were you, a fire warden?
No, well, I out our way in that as well. I was warden. Yeah. And of course I had a steel helmet even when I was working for Cowlings up towards Pilton when that was bombed. Yeah. And I went into one house and never put on the helmet, and they played ruptions with me because the old family in there was dead, and I was helping carry them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see. So you had a lot of experiences in the war as a warden.
Yes.
Now you told me you had a motorbike.
Yes.
And you've had a lot of experiences on this motorbike.
Yes.
And the other day you were telling me about the first accident you had when you went to this funeral. Would you like to tell me about that?
Oh, I was on a push bike.
Were you?
When
that
I
was a push bike, was it?
Yes, and it was one firm that I used to work for one time when I was apprentice, and I went to his funeral out at Eastern Bristol, and you know that in his house and that, they put him behind the door in the coffin, stood up.
Did they?
And they buried him, stood up. And
Why was that? Why was that?
A Jew.
He was a Jew?
Yeah.
They buried him standing up?
Yeah, and all the mourners what went to the funeral, they did carry in a little way and then sing and carry in a little way, and then when they put him in the ground and that, everybody had to take a shovelful and put a dirt in until he was filled up.
Did they dig a grave deep enough to bury him standing up?
Yes.
Did they do that?
Yes.
Now, was it on the way home from this you had this
Well,
accident?
on the way home in that as well, that towards Bedford, down one of the hills, a car must have ran into me and knocked me off, and I was unconscious, and my brother came along and he said he knew it was me because I had the bowlerette. And so he said that a car said that he'd take me to the General Hospital because that was the casualty way. And when I got to, and my brother said he wasn't going in with me, and so he said my father will be on the bus because he'd work as gardener at the airport, and he'll go in with him. So they put me in this car and started to drive me in there, and we got to know or something, and the ambulance was coming out, so they stopped him, and he took me the rest in there.
Oh, did he? I thought they tried to put you on a bus or something, didn't they, at one stage?
No.
That one then?
And then afterwards, when they got me to the General Hospital and that, they poured out all the broken bits of my chop cheese. And then afterwards, the men in the ward where I was through, the nurses was gone for breakfast. They said, you can't walk across this ward and take your things, breakfast things, across on this table. And I said, I can. And so I done it. And they said, oh, there's some men going up on the down, which is now a nursing home. And it was for the carcasses to go up there. And so they said, if you tell the doctor you ain't too bad, perhaps he might let you go up with them. And so I said that I feel fine. And he said he'd only let me go up if I went on the stretcher. And when I got up there, the other people who was up there said, oh, if you tell, you have to see a doctor now, and if you tell the doctor you've been up for 2 or 3 weeks, he'll let you go home today, and as long as you come back in here again. And I couldn't see a thing hardly, but I said, I've been up for days, and I feel fine. And he wrote out the ticket so I said to go home just for the day. And I went, another chap from Totterdown was going home as well, because he went up with me. And he seen me on the bus at Princess Street, and I couldn't see the bus of that hardly at all, but I got home and my mother played ructions with me. And I said, well, I gotta meet the chap, and I'm going back, because I gotta get back to the nursing home. And I seen the chap down in town, and we got back. And
well done. Now another story that I hear about you is you used to be tower captain, didn't you? Did you used to be, not tower captain, steeplekeeper at St Stephen's?
Yes.
Now they say that you went up to oil the bells when the bells were up, and that you fell inside a bell.
No, that wasn't it. I fell in Pablo.
Oh, at Pablo, was it? Yeah. Can you tell me about that?
I was steeplekeeper in Edwin and that in Pablo.
Yeah.
And we was going for a peel on the Sunday. And so I went up there to oil the bells. And of course when I got up there, there was 2 or 3 ladies wanted to see it. And I took them up and showed them the bells. Then took them down down the tower. Went up to finish oiling the bells, and I walked through between the 5th and the tenor. And the tenor used to set very deep. And I fell head first in with the can. And
didn't tip the bell over?
And I managed to get out with a struggle and not tip the bell over. I couldn't do it now because he set very light.
Is he? So you don't go up and oil the bells now? I don't expect you go up and oil the bells now?
No.
You don't do that? Oh, that was at Pablo, was it? So you put in a lot of ringing at Pablo?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about peel ringing? Have you had any interest in peels at all?
Well, actually, once I was on my motorbike, going home in that, when the snow and ice was on the ground, it's Ursley Hill, top of Ursley Hill, and that, the bike skidded, and a big 14-ton lorry was following behind me, and he didn't stop until he was on top of me in the motorbike. Yeah. And my leg was hanging off, and they carried me into a bungalow nearby, and a young chap there, I had Wellingtons on. I wanted him to take the Wellington off that leg what was hanging, but he wouldn't do it until the ambulance come in. They took it off. Yeah. And they got me into the infirmary, and they wanted to take, the surgeon wanted to take the leg off. But I said, I've been through first aid and that. So he said, well, I'll do all I can. So he sewed him back on, and every 5 minutes he did go down and smell it and see that it was going on all right, and he saved me.
Did he? What did you telling me he wanted to take your leg off?
Yes.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he managed to
Well, when I told him that I'd been through first aid and all that, he said he'd do everything to save me.
Oh, he did? Oh, I didn't realise that. I remember coming to see you in hospital after that, because I think that was in the late 1950s or 60s, wasn't it, when you had that accident?
Yes.
The stories of you and your motorbikes are legion, aren't they, really?
Yes, I used to go up to the university dinner again,
That's right.
and they wanted to know whether they'd carry me up.
Did you get up there at all?
Yes.
You did, right. Now, also, I remember in the 1960s that there was a big flood out at Tublo where you lived, wasn't it?
Yes.
And the water went through your house?
Yes, well, actually, it came up to the upstairs, and I had a piano down in under, and he was floating about till the notes come off in that. And also a wardrobe downstairs with clothes and that in there, and he got smashed all up, and a table went out through the big window which was cracked and smashed, and went down to the next village.
Did he?
Up in a tree.
Well, I understand you weren't so concerned about your furniture as you were about your ringing worlds. What
No.
happened to them?
And also about the College Youth book of London.
Yeah.
But, you know, it went they got a bit soaked, but I had a lot of them I dried out.
Did you hang about on the washing line?
Yes.
Did you, to dry?
Yeah.
You still keep them now?
Yes.
You still keep all
Well,
your
actually, quite a number of them at the time is in Compton and the church. Because where I'm to now, that I'm only in a small bungalow, and I haven't got the room.
Yeah. Going back to the 1930s again, you must be nearly the oldest ringer. Well, you are the oldest ringer, I think, to still ring in the city on a Sunday.
Yes.
Sid Ritchie's older than you?
I don't think so.
Don't think so, because Sid has been...
Sid, at that time, Sid used to work at the chemist down there.
Yeah. So you're probably still the oldest ringer in Bristol,
In fact, I mean, Sid asked me to ring in the first peal on his bells, but after we got right nearly to the end in that, something went wrong and we lost the peal. I've rang a peal at St Werburgh's.
At St Werburgh's. You have rung a peal there.
Yeah.
Yes, because they weren't very easy to get in latter years, were
No.
they? Now, Albert Tyler's a ringer who's been ringing in Bristol since the 1930s, but of course he was just a lad then. Do you remember Albert starting to ring?
He was living with his mother when he come over at Bedminster, and he used to come out my place and that and ring the handbells.
Did he?
Yeah.
So you can remember Albert starting to ring in Bristol?
Yes.
You can? You used to ring
Well,
with him
in
then?
fact, I mean, I rang me my first peal with his father at Wells Cathedral.
Did you?
I rang the tender with another ringer which a gardener, and he was half dead before we started, and he said, it's up to you, Cecil. And before halfway through, in that, I had blisters on my hand as big as half crowns.
Did you?
And they did break and then come up again.
Did you ring the peal all right?
Yes.
What was that? Was it Grancer Caters or
No,
Stedman?
Stedman.
Stedman Caters, was it?
And Austin of Gloucester was the conductor.
Who was?
Austin.
Austin of Gloucester.
Sam Austin.
Oh, I don't know him. That was Albert in that one?
No, his father.
His father was in it. Oh, I see. And did you ring peals with Albert in the 1930s before the war?
I think so.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah. What you were talking earlier about the ringers going to the pub on a Sunday?
Yes.
They used to go to the pub on a Sunday
Yes.
after ringing. Which pub was that? What street was it?
Randall is it down in the lane down there.
Yeah. And when you came to practice night, these days the ringers might...
Hugh Thomas used to be one of them who used to come with us.
Yeah. And did you go to the same pub after on practice night?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
And it's in what street is that in?
In St Nicholas.
The Radnor in St Nicholas Street you used to go to?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember going to the Naval Volunteer?
Yes.
At all?
Yes, and who is it? Arthur Reed used to come up from Chawton and used to meet us there, and Fred Leaker and that. He always used to go there, and we used to go.
Yeah, the Naval Volunteer in King Street, yes? It was a real old pub, that, wasn't it? All beer and sawdust. Yeah. What did you used to drink there?
Well, sometimes I did have,
They used to serve Worthington E. And Guinness?
Guinness. I used to have quite a lot of Guinness. And I know one Saturday and that, Arthur Reed and that was on, we kept him on the Guinness and that, and he was in it quite lively when he left.
Yeah. And what about ringing at Redcliffe? You used to go ringing at
Well, all special ringing at Redcliffe for early in the morning at 6 o'clock, and Sundays, and some Sundays, special occasions at 6 o'clock. I used to come in and we used to ring, and also at night on some special occasions.
What pub did they used to go to after ringing at Redcliffe in those days?
Well, I forget the name of them, but it used to be up dead opposite.
Oh, that was the old ship on Redcliffe Hill, next to the old lead shop tower. They used to go there in the 1930s. Yeah. I can remember that pub being there. It's long since gone now, of course. Yeah. Did you ever go to Fatty Wedlock's?
Yes. Yeah, I was there until he closed.
Were you?
And I was there on the night the ringers we went over as he closed.
Oh, you were there that night? Yeah, well, I can remember that night quite well as well. That pub's gone now, alas, as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any other ringers pubs that you remember in Bristol? Just the Radnor, was it? That was the main one that they used to go to.
Yeah.
We've talked about the ringing here at St Peter's. We talked about St Nicholas, which you remember. What about St Mary the Port? What were they like?
Well, not a bad deal in that as well. But you know, when you was in there, you was close together, and of a hot day and that, it was terrible ringing there. You never had hardly any breath.
Yeah. It was all shut in, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, but it was an 8 feet of 8, wasn't it?
And of course, when the cathedral bells was down at the church down there.
That's right, that was at Temple Church.
Yes.
Now, did you ring
I used to ring there. We used to ring all special occasions, and 1 and 2, and that used to take you off your feet if you was ringing.
Did they? Well, the ropes used to hang at an angle to the wall, I guess, to carry these over, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What was it like ringing there with the ropes not coming down straight?
Well, you know, it would pull you up in that as well.
Yeah, so they weren't all that much of a pleasure to ring.
No.
Down there, not at all. What about the bells up in Clifton that were lost? What were they?
They
like?
were lovely bells.
Were they?
Yes.
And they all went in the blitz?
Yes. I went up there, and all the metal in that was mixed, melted down at the bottom of the tower.
They were totally lost.
Yes.
Those, yes. And who was in charge up there, did you say? Somebody?
Clark, mostly.
Yes, yes. Did they have a good band up there?
Yes.
They did. And used to ring surprise, maybe?
Well, used to ring Bristol and that up there. I mean, that was where they got me on ringing in Bristol.
Did they?
And the last touch I ever rung of Bristol was at Langaston with Chris Kiffins' father.
Oh, yes.
He rang, I rang the 7th and he rang the 6th by me, and he kept his eye on me.
Did he? He got you right, did he? Did you ring that was a peal?
No, only...
just a touch, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I see, yeah. What do you reckon's the best peal you ever rung?
Well, I suppose the best would be inside shooting mending, but for outside, to listen outside, that digits is the best.
Yeah, yeah. How many
I rang a peal in both places.
You have, yeah. Have you rung many peals at St Stephen's?
Yes, quite a number.
Do you know how many you've rung?
I don't know straight away.
You don't know? How many peals have you rung altogether, do you know?
About 370, I think.
Have you? A lot of Grandsir doubles in those?
I've rung Grandsir doubles in that.
Rung lots of peals of Grandsir
Well,
doubles.
I rang at Redcliffe and that, Little Bob and Maximus, and also Kent Treble Bob.
You've rung both peals of those?
Yes.
Just, yeah. You mentioned a little while ago Mrs. Wilkins ringing as being the only lady ringer.
Yeah.
Do you remember her husband at all?
No.
He died before you...
Yeah, just before I got there.
Yeah. Did you ring much at St Philip's with Jack Brown?
Well, I used to, there every week, I think it was a Thursday, Jack had practice there, and he used to get me to go.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Cecil, you've told me a lot of stories in your time. I've no doubt I've forgotten some of them now. Have you got any other stories you can tell me that I might have forgotten to bring out?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know. Well, maybe another time we can get together again if we think
of course, I still got the certificate of when I was the secretary, Edgar Rice, and the ringing master. He's dead now. gave me when I joined Innocence in Bristol.
Yeah. And we talked about your motorbike, of course, which you had a motorbike for a long time, but you've got a three-wheeler now, haven't you?
Yes.
What is it? A Reliant? Is it Reliant?
Reliant.
How long have you had that?
Well, I've had that one, this one, about 2 years. The one before I had a Reliant van.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, you've had another one. I didn't realise that. I hope you haven't been done for parking again. I think you're the only man I know who's done for parking on a Sunday morning.
Yes.
Well, I think you parked across a pedestrian
Well, I
crossing,
parked for the Lord Mayor was at St. Stephen's, and I went there and parked nearer towards Princess Street. And when I come out, there was a ticket there tell me to go to the police station in Bristol. When I got there, they said, you have to go to court, you should not have parked there. And I said, I only parked for the Lord Mayor and even in the court, but they went and fined me so much, and also every year for about, it was on my licence for about 6 years.
Was it? You had points on your licence for parking. Well, I hope you haven't been done for parking this morning, Cecil. Now, you've been ringing in Bristol for well over 60 years.
Yes.
I think you're going to be 80 next year, is that right?
Yes.
You'll be 80 next year. What month will that be?
The 19th of July. I was born 1911.
1911. Well, I hope that in July next year we shall have a very big celebration for your 80th birthday. And we no doubt will ring a peal, and I hope you'll be able to ring a peal.
Well, this year, the ringers went and made methods for Mogford's delight, and we rang a quarter of it at Pablo on my birthday.
Did you? Well, we hope there'll be a peal of it then next year. We shall have to see, won't we? Well, thanks very much for your time this morning, Cecil. It's been very interesting talking to you, and if I can think of any other stories that you told me sometime, we shall have to add to this interview.
Of course, I mean, with Frank
Hansford,
I mean, when we used to go up to university, he and Liz Bowden, we used to have a proper good time.
Oh, well, tell us a bit more about that. What did you do with this proper good time?
Well, I mean, we used to go to after closing time there and go into the bar and Liz and Frank and that. And
I think, Nick, you'll have to take this up with your mother, won't you? Because it seems as though Cecil's got a little bit of a story here, which he's not actually telling us all about. Yeah. So we'll have to investigate this more fully another time. So I think this is a bit of a dark and misty and murky past, isn't it? And of course, poor old Frank's not here to tell the stories these days, so we shall have to investigate. Well, thanks very much indeed, Cecil. It's been nice talking to you, and I hope we shall be able to talk to you again sometime.